So we have finished the design part of the calculator, which looks like this. Not a very good design, I know. But the only thing left is the logic, right? So for example, if I click on some of these buttons, all the numbers should be showed here. Must be showed here actually. So how to do this one? So in order to do this, I have to handle some events, right? So whenever I click on this button, I have to catch these events. And I have to put there some code in order to make it show on this text view, if that makes sense. Okay, how to do this one? Actually, this activity.main XML is not needed anymore. It will need only for looking up to the ID names. See, button 3, button 4, and button 5, and all of these names, okay? Other than that, we will not do anything on this activity main, okay? All right, so let's go to main activity.java, and here I have to put some actions to the buttons, okay? The first thing I need to do, I have to link to this button, okay, from this main.java. So how to do this one? I have to connect to this button from this main.java. Okay, in order to do this one, here's the tricky part. So I have to write like button and make it like 1. Okay, 1. Okay, so I have initialized this button object, and I need to link this button 1, which is name of the 1. So I have to link this to this button. How to do this one? We do this by one thing which is called ID. You see? So ID is, where are you? Button 3, you see? So this is an ID name. So using this ID name, I have to link this button object to that button component. Okay, let's do this. Okay, here's some new things for you, and I explain what this is. So we will write button find view by ID r.id button 3, I think. Okay, so maybe something new for you, but it's okay. It's really easy. So the important thing to know about this method is that find view by ID is just returns the view object, which is ID is button 3. You see, button 3 is actually this view. Okay, but why did we put this brackets, and inside this brackets we put the word button? So by default, this find view by ID returns as the object, the class, which is called view. But our object, which is going to be linked to this view, is button. So we have to cast this view to the button. Okay. So every time when you linking this some component to some object to the component in the XML file, you have to use this casting. Okay. So which is really important. All right. So I have linked. Okay, another thing you might want to do is to put here some actions, some listeners, some click listener. Okay, so in order to do this one, you can write the following: one.set on click listener, and then go new on click. You just type on, and then just hit enter, and all of the methods will be listed for you. Here we have only one method, which is called on click. And this method will be executed whenever you click on a button. Okay, so for the demonstration purposes, we can just use this class which is called log and see if the clicking is working. Actually, not like this. Let's try to link this component. Let's text view. We will call it display. Okay, and then just display is equal to, just like this one, we have to get this view by ID, which is called text view, and then we have to cast this view to the text view, right? Text view. All right, now activity main XML. So here, let's try to change the display set text to what value? I think it's a 1. Purposes, we will change this eventually. So Okay, so let's try to run this app. So in order to run your app, you have to click this button, this triangle button. Okay, and then here will be all the available devices that you have installed. So there's only one device in my environment, which is called Android Accelerated NuGet. I think it's the default. It will be defaultly installed in your Android Studio. Defaultly. Okay, so let's click OK, and we'll see. It is called accelerated, and I think it is accelerated. So it works a little bit faster than the other emulators. So, yes. Okay, so what? Okay, I think it runs. It runs. Yes, it's running. It's building the Gradle. Okay, no errors, which is cool. Here it should installing the APK, launching activity, and boom. Okay, so here's our calculator. Okay, so I have put here the action. Whenever I click on this 0 must be changed to 1. So, okay, it works. You see, it works. Okay, but here's the problem. What if I want to put the action to also this button, to also this button? I have actually how many buttons here? I have 1, 2, 3. I have 12 buttons. So for 12 buttons, it is not really efficient to go like this, right? So to each and every button to set some separate click listeners, right? So this is not efficient, and it's not convenient, and it's not right actually. So in order to solve this problem, we can do the following. So you can actually get rid of this one, and you can actually get rid of this one, but it's important to know, so don't forget the stuff. Okay, so you can actually get rid of this one. Okay, so how are we gonna do this? How are we gonna set the action to each and every button in our calculator? Okay, to do this one, we go to mainActivity.java and create manually, programmatically, our own function. Public void, and we call it, for example, digit pressed. So what I'm doing is I'm creating the function that will be executed whenever I click on the digits. Okay, not on the operations, not on the equal, but on the digits. Okay, so I click at view, I do view v. So why do I need this view v object? Okay, this object needs to determine from which component we are making the action. For example, by this v, I can recognize that I'm making actually the clicking from this button or from this button. Okay, so how are we going to link this? I will show you later. Okay, so just know that this v object needs to exist because of recognition of this some of this components here. Okay. All right. So, for example, let's try to make some. I don't know. Do you know this toast thing? Just don't. I will not explain what this is because it's not important. I'm just going to show you that there's something like toast showing some messages by toast. Where's ID like hello and like toast links. Let's make it short and then show. Okay, what it does, it shows me some like temporary message. Okay, so a message that appears and then disappears. Okay, and on the message there will be showed hello. Okay, how to now we have this method and we have to link this method to each and every one of these buttons. So I will select only digits. I will select only digits and go to attributes, search for on click. Do we have on click? Okay, view all attributes. Okay, we have on click, and then here choose digit pressed, which we have already created in our mainActivity.java. Okay, put it here. Actually, we can run our program now. Okay, 1, boom, message is showed. Okay, 2 also showed, 6 showed, 7. Okay, all of the digits are connected to this digit pressed button, which is cool, right? So in the previous step, we had to we had to do like this. To each and every button, we had to make its own on-click methods, which is not efficient, right? But here, we just had to define only one method, which is cool. Okay, so every single one of these digits are connected to this digit pressed method. Now I have to change this display whenever I press on this digit, right? So how to do this one? So let's try to put something to display. So in order to put something to display, I have to get this text on the button, right? So whenever I click on 1, it should put here 1. 2, it should put here 2. 3, 3, right? So I have to get this text on the button. Okay, how to do this one? It's actually pretty easy. So this is where this view V helps, right? Okay, so I'm doing the following. Button target is equal to button V. You see? So this V, it's actually the same thing like find view by ID r.id.textView, except that this V already knows from which button it calls this digit press. Okay? So the only thing I have to do is to cast this to the button and equalize to this button target. Okay, and then I can just string get I don't know, text, and get this text on top of this button. We have a ready method for this, like get text to string, and then just display dot set text. Set text is the method which sets some text, which is obvious text. Okay, so let's run this program. Okay. Come on, 1, okay, 4, 2, 3, 6, everything is working. Okay, except that whenever, for example, if I want to get a number like 12, so I press 1, 2 must be appended after the 1, right? So here it just overwrites every single number, so which is not what I need, right? So how to do this one? It is pretty easy. So before adding something to my display, I have to get first I have to get what's in the display first, and then append it to the display. Okay, obvious. Okay, so I have to get, for example, current text on the display, which will be display dot get text dot to string. Okay, and then I have to string, for example, I don't know, what can we write here? Target, let's write like this. Current text plus target dot get text to string. Okay, and then just put the text to the display. Okay, let's run it again. I think it should work, except we didn't consider the 0, right? So it will append to 0. 1, 2, 3. Okay, everything is working, but this 0 shouldn't be here. So that's why we just need to consider some case. If our current text equals to 0, right? Current text should be this. Okay, I think it's correct. So let's go like this. Let's open the emulator. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, everything is working. Everything is fine, right? Okay. Okay, the numbers are showed here, but now we have to make some calculations with this operation, right? So whenever I press plus, this number should be disappeared, but saved to some first, for example, to some variable first operand, and then after clicking this plus button, I have to select the second number, which will be saved whenever I click on this equal button. Okay, so I have to have two methods, which is responsible for clicking operation, and the second, which is responsible for clicking this equal button. Okay, let's do that, but before, let's create some global variables first, which is called first operand, which initially equals to 0, and then the second operand, which is equal to 0, and then the result, for example, which is also equal to 0 for now. And then we have to have some other global variable, which is called operation, which is responsible for current operation that we're selecting, counting that there's plus, minus, multiplication, and division, right? Okay, so let's create the function for operation. Okay, so operation pressed. Okay, same thing here. We have to define the view, which is a target. Okay, and then another function, public void equal pressed, which is also have to have this one. Okay, these two methods should be connected to this button and this button respectively, right? Okay, so let's connect. So let's go here and click on click. Go here, which will be operation pressed, and this one must be on click equal pressed. Okay, all of the buttons are connected. Okay, so what happens if I click on operation, on some operation? Okay, here it should memorize and save the first operand, right? Okay, let's save it. For example, first let's get the current number that displayed on the display. Okay, in order to do this one, okay, let's type it like this: first operand is equal to display dot get text dot to string, right? Okay, we have to equalize this first operand to this one, but the only problem that display dot get text to string returns us a string, but this is an integer, right? So we have to make some casting from string to integer. Okay, how to do this one? You can do this by this method, which is called integer.parse, and put here any string you want. Okay, so we have memorized the first operand. After memorizing the first operand, we have to memorize the current operation that we clicked. Okay, so it will be like operation will be equal to what? Will be equal to button, text on the button. Okay, button target be like button v, right? And then target dot get text dot to string. Okay, we have memorized the first operand, we have memorized the operation, and I think that's it, right? Okay, that's not it. So we have memorized the first and the operation. After this, we have to remove what's displayed on the display, right? So we have to write display like set text is empty. Okay, so why do we need this? Because we have to select the second operand, right? So, okay, whenever I click on equal, I have to memorize the second operand, and then I have to define if this is a plus or a minus, and depending on what it is, I have to make some calculations on first operand and second operand and save it to result. So this is what I'm doing. Okay, so how to do this one? Let's memorize the second operand, which is the same as this one. Memorize the second operand. Okay, and then here I have to consider some cases, like if operation equals plus, I have to do the following. If operation equals plus, I have to save to result the summation of the first and the second operand. Okay? And then we just have to display to the text the result. Okay? You see, this result is actually integer. So set text takes only string, I think. So that's why we have to convert this to the string. By convert, I mean just put this brackets, not brackets, quotes. Okay, let's run this. I think it's already working. Launching an activity. 1, 2, plus, like 4, 5 should be 57. Yes, plus 11. Okay, everything is working. So this is how you make at least some calculator, right? So not the best logic here, but I hope you got some idea how the Android works and how Android Studio works and how to create the project and everything else. So I hope you will finish this homework and find maybe better solution for the logic. And until then, see you next time.